Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the financial world and sometimes just stare at a bunch of numbers wondering what they mean. Get ready to dive into Liquid Value Development Inc. and uncover what's really going on behind the scenes. Before we dive in, if you like getting the real story behind company filings without all the jargon, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We also have a Discord community linked in the description where we break down more filings and discuss market trends. So today we're looking at Liquid Value Development Inc. This Form 8K is like a snapshot of what's happening with the company right now. It's filed when some important event occurs that investors need to know about. The big news here is that on August 1st, 2025, Liquid Value Development Inc. did something pretty significant. They basically decided to reshape the company. The plan was to move most of the company's stuff, its existing assets and even its debts into a new company. And this new company is called Allset Real Estate Holdings Inc. Think of it like taking a big chunk of your business and putting it into a separate shiny new box. To make this happen, they entered into an agreement called a contribution agreement. This is where they officially agreed to this transfer of assets. What exactly did they contribute? What they did was transfer their ownership of another subsidiary, Allset Ev Home Inc. to Allset Real Estate Holdings. Now, Allset E Home Inc. was the entity holding most of the company's actual assets and liabilities. In exchange for actually giving away all those shares of Allset E Home Inc., this new Allset Real Estate Holdings company handed over a massive amount of its own stock to Liquid Value Development Inc. We're talking over 704 million shares. That's a whole lot of paper. And the important part is that this whole deal actually happened on August 1st. It wasn't just an idea, it was completed. Why would a company do this? Well, the filing mentions this is part of a plan to restructure. The goal seems to be to separate out operations and create a new structure for the company. They also mentioned that after this, the original stockholders of Liquid Value Development Inc. will still own a portion of the company, specifically 15%. This suggests they are spinning off a part of their business while retaining some control or interest. The idea is to keep some of the good things from the old operations while making the new setup better for the future, aiming to boost shareholder value. If you wanted to see the actual legal document for this deal, it's filed as Exhibit 10.1. That's where all the nitty-gritty details of the contribution agreement are laid out. And signing off on this report is Romgro Wei, who holds the title of Co-Chief Financial Officer. This tells us that the finance department was heavily involved in making sure all these moves were properly documented and reported. Now, looking at this filing, there aren't any detailed financial tables here. This is a report about a transaction, not a full financial performance update, like a quarterly earning report. So we can't really do a deep dive into revenue or profit. What we're seeing is a corporate action, a restructuring. So what's the takeaway from this filing? The company Liquid Value Development Inc. has undergone a significant operational change. They've essentially moved a core part of their business, Allset E Home Inc., into a new entity, Allset Real Estate Holdings. This new entity then issued a large number of shares to the parent company. This is often a precursor to further corporate actions like a spin-off or a merger with another business. The strategy here seems to be about streamlining operations or perhaps preparing for a new business direction by setting up these new structures. The structure of keeping 15% ownership for existing shareholders after the transaction suggests a desire to maintain some continuity and potentially benefit from the future success of the spun-off assets. While the lack of financial data within this specific filing makes it hard to judge the financial health or performance directly, the move itself indicates a strategic pivot. Companies restructure for many reasons. Sometimes it's to unlock value by separating different business units. Other times it's to isolate risk. In this case, it seems to be about creating a cleaner structure that potentially makes it easier to bring in new investors or merge with new operations. The key for investors will be to watch what Liquid Value Development Inc. does next with Allset Real Estate Holdings and its own remaining businesses, with Allset Real Estate Holdings and its own remaining businesses, with Allset Real Estate Holdings and its own remaining businesses. On a broader note, this kind of restructuring often signals a company is looking for growth or trying to adapt to changing market conditions. It's a move that can be positive if it leads to greater efficiency and profitability, but it also carries risks if the new structure doesn't perform as expected or if the underlying business isn't strong enough to support it. We'll definitely need to keep an eye on their future filings to see how this plays out. So what do you think about this restructuring by Liquid Value Development Inc.? Does it seem like a smart move or a sign of trouble? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Corporate Decoder for more insights into the financial world. And don't forget to join our Discord community for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.